Okay, well, I've got the incredible Delfina from Embryoxite. Am I even saying that right, Delfina? I am fantastic.
Perfectly.
So this is a story that's near and dear to my heart. But Delfina, with that, let me hand it straight over to you. Tell us all about the company, what you're building, and why you're building it.
Okay, first, Steve, thank you so much for this invitation. It's great. This space is where we can tell our story and what we are developing. So I really appreciate um, your interest. So first, I will do a very short introduction of myself. My name is Delfina. I'm an industrial engineer. I'm also a mom of two kids, Baltasar, 5 years old, and Felicitas, 1 year old. Um, since I was a kid, I was really interested about the disadvantages about girls and boys. My first experience, professional experience, was incredible, but it was in Volkswagen, and I realized the disadvantages, especially when we focus on um, leaders' positions. And I realized that most of those positions were for men. And there was something there. There was like, what is happening to women that when they are close to arrive to reach those positions, they are not doing. So I realized that there was a relationship with motherhood. Many years uh, go went through, and I met four guys that were doing something, were studying something incredible. They were studying the embryo metabolism. And the 40% of these teams are embryologists, and the other 60 are engineers. And honestly, I felt in love about the problem they were solving because due to the social changes, such as postponement of maternity and paternity, people is having a lot of trouble with infertility. Um, Worldwide, 1 in 6 people around the world is suffering. They cannot achieve the dream of having a child. I don't want to stay too much time speaking about statistics because it's like a really invasive topic, and sometimes numbers cannot express what families, women and men are feeling when we speak about speaking about a dream they cannot achieve. Um, Unfortunately, the global success rate for an IVF treatment is just 30% because the decision is based mostly in morphology. And to increase pregnancy success rates, clinics relied on the genetic test, that it is an invasive test that risks damaging the embryo, risking the few embryos that many women and men have. And we need to understand that each embryo represents a chance to achieve the dream. Um, I want to express that this process is really basic, emotional, emotionally, economic, um, and the and those patients who who are in this journey, um, they really suffer, and is um, their life is like the daily life is all about the IVF treatment, the diagnostics, the injections, the hormones, the thousand appointments, and when an embryo is transferred, there is so much hope, but the success rate is just 30%. So in most cases, that chance don't result in a pregnancy. And it's like a really difficult moment. There is a lot of hope. And one day the beta is negative and they cannot do anything. The only thing that they can do is to start again with less hope, with less energy, with a lot of stress. So in 2022, we decided to change this reality, and we are developing non-invasive tests that analyze the embryo metabolism. So instead of taking cells of the embryo, we take a sample of the media, of the culture medium where the embryo develops. That culture medium is a special liquid that provides all the nutrients and all the conditions that the embryo needs to grow. So in day number 5, instead of taking cells of the embryo, we take a sample of the media and we send it to our lab space. We analyze that media, and our AI model can predict pregnancy success rate. So embryologists will use this test to decide which embryo transfer to a mother's uterus based on data, and not it will be like an objective decision and not just morphology and experience.
Wow. Delphina, I love it. I love it so much. It really strikes a chord with me. You're bringing up memories of kind of going through this process. But I love what you said at the start as well in terms of it's and I feel like I see this as well. We live in a world where there's plenty of talk of being fair and equal, and how mothers don't get penalized for choosing to have a child. But it happens. You still see it. I think even without companies, I think maybe they have the best intentions at heart, and still the mother is still penalized for deciding to go and have a child, and that nature to then kind of like push it back as we get older, and increases the chance of problems. You know, for me and my wife, we still don't know which one of us, why we couldn't have a baby. We never got enough testing to show categorically it's him, it's her, whoever it was. But I love how the solution that you're putting forward is, you know, offering that kind of percentage chance for each of these embryos, so that even though it can't be 100%, you know, at least, you know, mothers and fathers to be as well can go into this knowing that there's hope, and here's a percentage to that hope. It's such an emotionally charged area, and like you said, more and more people are struggling with this today. I was watching a Netflix documentary about plastic and the impact of plastic on male infertility, which has caused me to immediately go out and try and replace as much plastic as I can in my life. But it just goes to show there's so much that we don't understand about reproduction and how this works, and how our life choices affect this. But tell me more about, you know, the company, like where are you at today? What are the next steps? What are you trying to do, and where are you trying to go with this?
Great. But first, I would like to express an opinion.
Yeah.
I think that we need to study deeper about infertility, the current life we are enjoying, because there are too many answers that cannot be answered. Too many questions that cannot be answered, sorry. Sometimes when an embryo is transferred and it doesn't result in a pregnancy, professionals don't have the exact answer, what is happening. So that is something like many patients suffers because it is negative, but apart from that, they don't have answers. Currently, we are in a validation phase of our test. We are validating this test in 10 IVF clinics. So we are sure that what we are predicting is correctly and can help 1,000 million of people worldwide. Then we are moving to a regulatory process. In the US, for example, we expect to go to a clear certification, and we expect in 2 years to start our commercialization of this test.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. It's I'm glad that you exist. I feel like, as as a mum to be going through this process, you can feel like you are at the cutting edge of technology when you do ask those questions about why has this failed, or what's happening here, and the answers you get back are, we're not entirely sure.
One
And
more
so,
thing, we are
yes,
working
please.
with 25 IVF clinics worldwide, Latin America, Europe, the United States. Those agreements allow us to have access to clinical data, embryo growth images, and molecular information because we believe in a holistic approach, not just the embryo metabolism, not just genetic, instead of taking into account different layers of information so we can predict in a more robust way.
Yeah, I love that. It's so exciting to see this developing, and like here's my picture of Henry as an embryo, right? It's a crazy world, and I'm grateful that you're building this for all the parents out there. I was so lucky that our first attempt at IVF worked, but that doesn't mean it wasn't stressful, and certainly for my poor wife, who I had to give those injections to every day for months leading up to it, and we've got 2 other embryos that we want to bring into the world, and she's dreading that notion of having to go through all of the injections again and all of that process. So any work in this area is hugely welcome. So Delfina, thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure we'll talk more in the future as you build this out. But thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you, Steve. It was great to speak with you, and thank you so much for your empathy to this